discussion for tonight is also recorded to be uploaded probably tomorrow or by next week para mabalikan nyo din yung mga discussions natin. So, I believe you already know that our midterm examination is moved from so those are just few pero kaya namang gawin is kung sino ba yung tatanggalin and not simply rely employee. Step is the that some of the authorized causes are okay. So let us begin. Last meeting we were able to discuss the termination due to authorized causes. We mentioned that some of the authorized causes are as follows. We have installation of labor-saving devices, redundancy of work, bankruptcy, cessation, closure, illness. So those are just few of the reasons for a permissible termination due to authorized causes. We also discussed the procedure for termination, which is the first step is the decision by the management to terminate the employee. Number two, a notice of termination is given to DOLE as well as to the employee at least 30 days before the actual day of termination. And the third step is, of course, the day of termination. Now, with regard to termination due to just causes, the difference is that there is no hearing required in termination due to authorized cause. However, despite the fact that no hearing is required, the employee may still contest the decision of the employer in choosing him from among the employees of the decision to terminate. So what does that mean? Ibig sabihin, pwede pa rin contest the employee kung bakit siya from among the other employee ang na-terminate or na-lay off. Halimbawa, sabihin natin na the ground for termination is due to redundancy of work. Okay, paulit-ulit na trabaho. So from our example last time, we mentioned utility personnel, isang janitorial personnel. Kung sa isang lobby, sa isang floor, there are 20 janitors or janitorial personnel, pero kaya namang gawin isang tao yung paglilinis ng isang floor, then since redundant yung work ng iba, pwedeng tanggalin yung 19 and to retain 1. Unless otherwise, yung 19 na yun are designated in another position or have another skill na pwedeng ma-utilize ni employer. Pero kung wala naman, then determination is permissible or allowed, napayagan. It is allowed by law. Now, the contestation, yung pag-contest ni employee, may be done kung para malaman niya kung paano ba nagkaroon ng pilian kung bakit siya yung natanggal out of the 20 employees. Okay? So there should be a selection process kung sino ba yung tatanggalin and not simply rely on the whims or caprices, mga capricho ng employer. So kailangan pa rin kahit na magtatanggal ka and yung pagtanggal sa'yo is allowed by law, still there should be proper selection process. Hindi lang yung mag-mini-mini mo. Okay? So halimbawa 20 employees, mamimili ka ng 19 na tatanggalin. isa i-retain. Kasi kaya namang gawin ng trabaho ng isa, yung trabaho ng 20. So hindi pwede na magkakaroon lang ng pag-select employer base sa kagustuhan niya. Hindi pwede yun. Sino kaya sa inyo ang tatanggalin ko? No. There should be a reasonable ground din naman. Kailangan din i-justify ni employer kung bakit out of 20, itong isang to ang pinili. Or kung bakit out of 20, itong 19 na ito ang tatanggalin. Okay? So na-discuss natin last meeting yan. Also, we were able to discuss the procedural due process according to the case of ang TIBAY versus CIR or the Court of Industrial Relation. So doon sa case decided by the Supreme Court, the court said that there should be a procedure in terminating employee. Okay? Kahit na it is kahit na kung yung termination is due to just causes, kailangan pa rin ng proseso. Due process should still exist. So, ang sabi ng court, there should be a hearing. Okay? Doon sa hearing na yon, the employee, the respondent, the person being complained should present his case, should present evidence favorable to him, pabor sa kanya. And then yung evidence presented by the employee should be the subject of observation by the committee hearing the case. Kailangan, in making a decision, dapat yung evidence na in-accept at in-resent doon sa hearing, doon sa investigation, yun ang dapat maging basihan nung body or committee na nag-investigate at magbibigay ng decision. And then the evidence should also be acceptable. It should be substantial. Hindi pwedeng kung ano-ano lang, hearsay. Sinabi ko ng ganito, sinabi ng ganyan. No. Okay, kailangan po corroborative and the evidence is substantial and is supplemented by other factors. Also, the committee deciding the case should give its own independent judgment and not base its judgment on any other individual. Kailangan sarili nila. Kailangan pinag-usapan nila. Hindi lang sabi kasi ng ganito, ito daw judgment sa'yo. Okay? Hindi pwede yun. Kailangan galing sa kanila. Walang nagmamanipulate, walang nag-i-interfere nung proseso ng pagdinig nung complaint na i-file laban sa isang employee. Okay. So yun yung na-discuss natin. So for today, ang pag-uusapan natin, very simple. May separation pay ba? Babayaran ba yung mga employee na na-terminate? Okay, so very good question yan, particularly during this period, during this situation. Okay, so let's discuss them. Kung meron bang separation pay yung mga employees o wala. So, separation pay. So this presentation is lifted doon sa Q&A, frequently asked questions ni Dole. First and foremost, what is a separation pay? Ano ba ang definition ng separation pay according to Dole? So ang sabi, termination for authorized causes, separation pay is the amount given to an employee who is terminated due to the following. Okay? So, ang sabi pala dito, si separation pay pala, it is done in the means of an amount. Compensable pala siya. Pera pala siya. So, sino ba ang binibigyan ng separation pay? Any employee terminated due to, number 1, installation of labor-saving devices, redundancy of work, retrenchment, closure or cessation of business, or incurable disease or incurable illness. At may sinama pa dyan. Yung second bullet niya, which states that separation pay may, okay, the words may also be granted to an illegally dismissed employee in lieu of reinstatement. So doon muna tayo sa unang bullet. So it is very clear and simple that employees who are terminated due to just causes are not given separation pay. Okay? Yung mga empleyado na na-terminate due to just causes. Ano ba yung just causes? Malicious misconduct, gross disobedience, habitual negligence, commission of a crime, breach of trust of employer, other analogous cases. If you would look at those enumerated just causes, all of them are willfully done by the employee, maliciously done by the employee, okay, with intent, with evil intent. Meaning, illegal yung ginawa ng mga empleyado na tinanggal due to just causes. It is their own doing. Sila mismo yung gumawa nun. Unlike in authorized causes, walang kinalaman si employee. It just so happened that this situation came. This situation happened. Kaya siya matatanggal. Okay? Ayun, halimbawa, isang empleyado, tignan natin yung logical explanation, ha? Isang empleyado, pinagnakawan niya ni employee si employer. Or pinagmumura ni employee si employer. Or sinaktan ni employee si employer. And then, hihingi pa siya ng separation pay? Well, I don't think so. Okay? Hindi na siguro dapat pambigyan ni employer, si employee ng separation pay because yung willful act, yung illegal act na ginawa niya was his own doing. Now, dun tayo sa pangalawa, second bullet. If an employee is illegally dismissed, madaming option yan. Ano? Pwede siyang ibalik doon sa dati niyang trabaho. Kapag nag-file ng illegal dismissal si employee sa proper court, the court may decide favorably to the employee and may say na, o sige, mali yung pag-dismiss sa'yo. Okay? Illegal yung pag-dismiss sa'yo. Therefore, dapat kang bumalik sa trabaho mo. Now, sa part ni employee, kapag naman niya na yung pagbalik ko sa trabaho ko, dahil nagkalamat na yung relasyon namin ni employer. Okay? Baka mamaya balikan niya ako, pahirapan niya ako, or baka mamaya bigyan niya ako ng trabaho na hindi ko kaya, ayaw ko na bumalik. Therefore, since ayaw ko na bumalik, I would insist on separation pay na lang. So, yun yung definition ng separation pay. Okay? Ito maganda. Magkano? How much is the separation pay? Okay, supposed to be paid by the employer to the employee. So, yung unang bullet niya, magkakaiba yan, ha? Iba-iba yung ibibigay or maaari ibigay. In cases, tandaan nyo, in cases of labor-saving devices, redundancy of work, the employee is entitled to receive an equivalent of 1 month pay kapag siya ay nagtrabaho ng less than 1 year to 1 month pay. Meaning, kapag si employee ay nagtrabaho less than 1 month, and then na-lay off siya because bumili si employer ng machine na kayang gawin yung trabaho niya. And ang kanyang sweldo sa isang buwan ay 10,000 pesos, then, according to law, he should be paid 10,000 pesos. Okay, 10,000 pesos. So, now, tuloy tayo. Kung more than 1 year ang trabaho ni employee, yung 1 month salary niya, i-multiply kung ilang trabaho siya or ilang taon siya nagtrabaho. Okay? Length of service ang tawag doon. Going back to our previous example, kung 10,000 kada buwan yung kanyang sweldo, 10 taon siyang nagtrabaho doon. And then siya ay na-lay off dahil bumili nga ng machine sa employer. Then yung 10,000 niya is multiplied by 10. Okay? So around 100,000 if my calculation is not correct. 100,000 yung maaari niyang makuha as separation A. So dalawa yun installation of labor-saving devices and redundancy. Now, second bullet. In cases naman daw of retrenchment, closure or cessation of business, incurable disease, okay, lack of service assignment of security guard for a continuous period of 6 months, and lack of service assignment of deployed personnel under DO 174 and under contracting and subcontracting arrangement for a period of 3 months. So, kung less than 1 year ang kanyang trabaho, equivalent to 1 month ang ibibigay sa kanya. Kung more than 1 year ang trabaho niya, equivalent to 1/2 month, kalahating buwan na sweldo, multiplied for every year of service the employee. Sir, ba't ganon? Ba't magkaiba? Tandaan nyo retrenchment. Ano bang retrenchment? Medyo may financial losses, closure or cessation. Meaning, walang pera si employer. Naghahanap siya ng pera. Therefore, it is just proper na kahit paano medyo maging humanitarian naman kay employer. Kaya nga, it is allowed na kapag more than 1 year, 1/2 month ang ibibigay for every year of service. Balik tayo. Sir, ano ho ba yung sinasabing lack of service assignment of security guard for continuous period of 6 months? Noong 2017, kung nare-recall ninyo, just a couple of years ago, ano yung sabi ni Duterte? Pagkaupo niya as president, tatanggalin ko na yung contractualization. Okay. So yung una is with regard to security guard. The security guard, they have their own security agency. Now, yung kanilang trabaho ay nakabase kung saan sila i-assign, i-detail, i-deploy ni security agency. Kung dati-rati, before the onset of this law, dati-rati, kapag walang assignment si security guard, wala siyang sweldo. Hindi siya mabibigyan ng compensation. Okay, mabibigyan lang siya kung meron ng nahanap na kontrata si security agency. Pero kung wala siyang sweldo. Pero ang sabi ni Duterte, this should stop. Okay, this should stop. Therefore, doon sa bagong DOLE circular na lumabas, maliwanag dito na kung si security guard sa loob ng 6 na buwan ay wala siyang service assignment, kailangan nang bigyan siya ng separation pay for him to find for another work or another job. Okay? Now, doon sa isa naman, halos ganun din. Kapag walang service assignment si agency under Department Order 174, doon sa kanyang mga contractual or subcontractual personnel sa loob ng 3 buwan, then dapat silang bigyan ng separation pay. So ito medyo bago to. Under itong dalawang to, during the term of President Rodrigo Duterte. Kasi nga, plano niyang tanggalin yung contractualization. So this is a step going towards a revamp of the idea contractualization is allowed. Unti-unti niya tinatanggal yung ganong understanding, ano? Para at least lahat ng mga employees siguro later on ay mawala na doon sa stigma na contractualization. So, again, kung less than 1 year, 1 month, equivalent of 1 month salary. Kung more than 1 year, equivalent of 1/2 month multiplied by every year of service. Yung kababanggit ko lang, sila yon. Yung third bullet, kapag yung employee naman ayaw na mag-reinstate, ayaw na bumalik, dahil nga nangangamba siya, baka balikan siya ng employer. Dahil ang sabi ng court, tama si employee. So therefore, tingin na lang siya ng separation pay, which is ito nga, equivalent to 1 month pay, or kapag less than 1 year, kung more than 1 year, 1 month pay for every year of service. Sir, are there any evidence which should be submitted to DOLE to prove that financial losses exist? Yes po. Hindi po pwede that DOLE should take the word of mouth to employer. Hindi po pwede na hearsay lang. There should be a document, there should be a proof through ledger siguro, invoices siguro, that there exist financial losses. So ang sabi dito, in the case of Lopez Sugar versus NLRC na, yes, proof of actual or imminent, meron talaga. Okay? Financial losses that are substantive in character must be proven by the employer para ma-justify na meron talagang retrenchment. Okay? Na talagang kailangan nila or nawawala na sila ng pera. Kaya po pwede na or allowed mag-retrench ng employee. Kasi maaaring mangyari dyan, if proof or evidence is not needed, maaaring gawin ni employer kasi just to say na hindi, puro po kami financial losses. Para mahinto yung ganung possibility, kailangan mag-submit ng proof na meron talagang nangyayari ganito noon. Okay. Another question is, are there other conditions before an employee may be dismissed on the ground of redundancy? Yung kaninang binanggit ko sa inyo, yung 20 na utility personnel, janitorial personnel, isa lang ang kaya naman yan, isa naman ang may kakayanan o isa lang naman yung kayang gumawa sa trabahong yun, yung 19 may be dispensed off. Redundancy ang tawag doon. So may mga ground tulad ng binanggit ko. So number 1, there should be good faith, good faith sa party employer para ma-abolish yung ibang mga employee, tanggalin, ma-terminate yung ibang mga employee because of redundancy. Pangalawa, yan, yung kanina binanggit ko. There should be fair and reasonable criteria. A criteria of what? Criteria in selecting who among the employees should be dismissed or terminated. Hindi lang basta yung mamimili lang siya na sino kaya sa inyo. Okay? O kaya, ang pipiliin niya ay yung pinaka-pogi na lang yung maiiwan dito. Yung mga tsaka, sila na lang yung tatanggalin. Hindi pwede yung ganun. Kailangan reasonable yung criteria. And also, yung binanggit ko na yung 30-day notice or 1 month prior notice should be given to the employee as well as to DOLE before the day of termination. Now, going to disease. How what are the reasons wherein an employer may terminate an employee because this employee has a disease? Okay? Paano kapag ang disease lang niya, sabihin natin very mild? Pwede ba na kapag si employee ay nagkaroon lang ng gingivitis or UTI or may bukol lang siya ay ite-terminate? So, ang sabi dito na there should be factors before an employee may be terminated due to contraction of a disease or pagkakaroon ng sakit na malubat. Tandaan niya, disease, it should be grave or serious. So, ang sabi dito, kailangan pong issuean or mag-issue ang isang competent public health authority, a doctor, a hospital, ng certification, medical certification, that this person has a disease. Kaya nga dapat, yung mga company, they should have their own doctors or physician. Yung mga, lalo na yung mga factories, dapat they should have their own physician. At hindi lang basta first aider lang. So, ang sabi dito, yung disease is of such nature or at such stage that it cannot be cured within a period of 6 months, even with proper medical treatment. So kung hindi kayang ma-cure, pagaling, ng mga gamot sa loob ng 6 na buwan, itong employee, then pwede siya ma-terminate due to contraction of a disease, a communicable disease. Dapat communicable yung disease, ha? Ayun, yan. Sa panahon natin, during this period, global pandemic tayo, COVID-19. Now, the question is, at alam ko, madami sa mga employee who were under this situation. This employee was diagnosed as positive of COVID-19. And then, paano kung bigla siyang tatanggalin? Okay? On the premise, sasabihin ng employer, hindi, nakakahawa yung sakit mo, you have COVID-19. Diba? So, can that be done? O pwede bang tanggalin ni employer si employee because of COVID-19? What does the law say? Ito maliwanag dito. If it is incurable for a period of 6 months, then termination may be done. Kung incurable for a period of 6 months. Now, the $1 million question is, gaano ba katagal yung pag-cure during period ni employee kung siya ay found positive ng COVID-19? So ngayon, alam naman natin na because of medical treatment, napakabilis lang na ma-cure na ngayon kahit na positive sa COVID-19 si employee. Meaning, it is my observation that the employee should not be removed, should not be terminated kung meron siyang COVID-19. Okay? Kasi, I would assume that sa ngayon, because of this pandemic, madami sa mga employee ang natanggal dahil meron silang COVID-19. Okay. What about tuberculosis? What about AIDS? Communicable disease yan. Alam naman natin na si AIDS is curable pa naman. No found medicine are accepted by the medical practitioner by AIDS. Paano yon? What does the law say? Ang sabi ng batas natin, ang sabi ni DOLE through certain issuance, circulars, memoranda, ang sabi ni DOLE na employers should be empathic. Employers should be considerate. Okay? Employers should be compassionate. Meaning, they should provide or measure din naman na kahit na this employee has this incurable disease, na wag silang tanggalin sana because treatment is very expensive. Huwag sana silang tanggalin. Ang dapat gawin ng employer is to find way para hindi matransmit or matransfer yung sakit na meron. At bawal po ang discrimination. Bawal po yung discrimination. Kailangan si employer to provide for the necessary precautionary measure para hindi mahawaan din yung mga tao. And at the same time, still to accept this employee who has incurable disease. Huwag naman tanggal ka agad. Okay? Compassion dapat, consideration dapat. Okay. Ito mahalaga to. Later, kapag kayo yung nagpa-practice na ng human relation, nasa HRD kayo, please tell your employer to follow due process. Boss, Mr. Employer, we should follow due process to the letter. Strictly. Kasi meron pong financial consequence kapag hindi tayo sumunod sa due process. Sabi ng batas natin, under the case of Jaca Food versus Darwin Takot, sabi dito, kung yung termination, okay, if the termination or if the ground for termination for just causes ay hindi dumaan sa due process, then the employee who is dismissed na walang due process, court say na pwede siyang mabayaran ng 30,000 pesos. Nominal pa lang yan, nominal damages pa lang, wala pa yung actual damages dyan. Para hindi pamarisan. 30,000 pesos. Kabilang banda, if the ground for termination is authorized causes naman at hindi dumaan sa procedural due process, maaring papatawan ng danyo sa halagang 50,000 pesos si employer. What does that mean? Merong financial consequence kapag walang due process. Therefore, dapat yung sabihin kay employer, there should be process po. Dapat dumaan po tayo sa tamang proseso. Otherwise, tayo ang magsasuffer ng brunt ng korte. Sir, paano po kapag voluntary nag-resign si employee? Meron ba siyang separation pay? Tandaan nyo voluntary, kusang loob, nag-resign siya. Umalis siya willingly. Probably because of normal reasons ay greener pasture, kasi wala na po dito si crush, wala na akong motivator, or malayo po yung bahay ko, etc. etc. So those may be reasons for voluntary resignation. Ayun, pwede bang mag-insist ng separation pay sa employee? So, ano yung sabi ng DOLE? Primarily, kapag nag-resign si employee voluntarily, primarily wala siyang separation pay. He or she is not entitled for a separation pay. Pero, unless pero kung practice na ng company na kahit na nag-resign si employee, or kung may nakalagay stipulasyon, collateral sa collective bargaining agreement na yung mga employee magre-resign are still entitled to separation pay, dapat magbigay si employer. So yun yung mga provision kung kailan magbibigay ng separation pay si employer. If it is a company practice or if it is provided in the collective bargaining agreement. Other than those, hindi entitled ng separation pay si employee. Wala akong COVID ha. May katanungan po. Are you waiting for any more questions ha? Kasi may nakikita ko na nagtatype. So may katanungan po, sir, paano naman po kung yung disease na na-acquire sa workplace, tulad ng COVID, katulad niya ng binanggit ko, it is the employer's responsibility to provide for a working environment which is free of any possibility of contraction of any disease. Tapos si employer, trabaho ni employer na gumawa ng paraan. Now, the minute naman na it is proven that the employer did not provide for the minimum health standard protocol as dictated by IATF, then pwede pong ireklamo sa employer. Again kapag hindi ginawa ni employer yung minimum standard protocol dictated by IATF, saan naman yung pwedeng kasuhan? Kaya ang minimum yun na lang yung pwedeng standard na gawin. Kung hindi nag-check ng kung walang thermal scanning, kung walang provision ng sa sanitizing detergent, for example, then yan, pwedeng ireklamo si employer. Pero kung meron naman nun, kung meron naman provision, sumunod naman si employer, just so happen na yung employer na merong sakit ay hindi nagsabi na siya ay may sakit and still he tried to enter the premises, then sa tingin ko walang magiging asunto si employer as long as sumunod siya do sa minimum protocol ng IATF. Sir, ano po yung pagkakaiba ng back pay at separation pay? From the word alone, back pay. Particularly kapag meron pang um, meron ka pang dapat tanggapin kay employer or kay company. For example, may na-withhold siya sa sweldo mo. Back pay ang tawag doon. Separation pay naman, ito naman yung ibibigay ni employer because for the reasons of determination yung rason ni separation pay. Si back pay, siya yung na-withhold ni employer. Kasi minsan, ang nangyayari dyan, kapag pumasok kayo sa trabaho, there are companies na ganito ginagawa, yung unang salary mo, hindi ka agad ibibigay sa'yo. Okay? Hindi ka agad ibibigay sa'yo. So kapag magre-resign ka, or aalis ka na, back pay tawag doon. Yun yung maibibigay sa employee, mga na-withhold. Sir, curious lang po ako kung ano-anong machines yung labor-saving devices. Okay. Iba-iba kasi yan eh. The main um, the main objective here is that regardless of machine, as long as ginagawa ng makinang pinurchase, binili ni employer yung trabaho ng mga employee, then that can be considered as installation of labor-saving devices. Okay, from the word alone, labor-saving devices. Yung mga machine na yon na in the long run, kayang mag-save ng expenses sa part ng employee sa pagbayad ng salaries or wages ng mga employees. So walang definite na machine na sinasabi. As long as yung makina na binili, nagagawa niya yung trabaho ng mga empleyado, then considered yun the labor-saving devices. Tanungan pa po. Siyempre naman, mabibigay ka ng pointers. Point. Joke lang, ano. Before we would have our midterm exam, babalikan natin sila lahat, pag-uusapan natin sila lahat, para at least naman ma-recall ninyo. Kaya nga, as much as possible, nire-record ko itong itong conversation natin para mabalikan nyo later on. Makita nyo later, ito pala yung discuss namin some weeks ago. Meron pa ba? Any questions pa? Oo, yung sa recitation, as much as possible, one-on-one, yung application, tignan ko kung paano available. Pero, ang isa sa mga maaari kong gawin ay through Messenger. So, any day next week, probably, tawagin ko kayo through your Messenger, video call tayo para at least na nakikita ko din kayo. Kung hindi naman available, baka tawagan ko kayo through your phone. Sir, what if may hindi pang nasa-settle si employee na cash advance pero na-terminate po siya ng employer? Ano po mangyayari sa natitirang cash advance na hindi pa na-settle? Kung halimbawa may hiniram si employee, kay employer, normally, ang ginagawa ni employer is to, kapag termination, is to ask the employee to pay for or to settle the cash advances made. Okay? Kaya kung magre-resign naman si employee, ang gagawin ng employer, kailangan magpapirma ng clearance si employee na magre-resign. Para doon sa clearance na yon, kapag cleared siya, kapag wala siyang utang, then po pwede na siyang malis. Otherwise, kailangan mo na ayusin. Meron man silang inutang or cash advance na hindi pa nababayaran. Yes, Ms. Ramos, i-announce ko na lang para at least ready din kayo. Baka mamaya nakakaya naman bigla ako tumawag sa inyo, nasa CR pala kayo, di ba? So, i-announce ko naman, huwag kayong mag-alala. Hindi ako yung bigla-biglang tatawag. Hindi ko rin naman na inconvenience. Gusto ko lahat, ano natin is convenient. Ano po, so, I believe, let's call it a night. Again, take care. Ingat kayo, stay safe. Kung meron pa kayong katanungan, we have our group chat. Magtanong na kayo doon and more than willing ako na sagutin yung mga questions. Okay, so maraming salamat. Thank you to those of you who are here. Yung mga wala, just ask them to watch yung mga previous discussions natin. Salamat po. Thank you.